And I wish some of y'all would mess with my wife, Jordan. Talking about what you gonna do if you see her. Well, you will see me on the news. Let me just tell you that right now. Talking about what you gonna do if you see her. You better walk by and say, praise the Lord. That's what you better do. Because that's my wife. And she grown. She didn't need nobody to sign no paperwork for her. Now, if this was out in the streets, y'all be saying she made a come up. But you a hypocrite. So don't you forget the Bible say marriage is honorable. And the Bible said when you find the wife, honey, you find favor with God, honey. I found some favor with God. And we sleeping good at night.
Welcome back to the channel. You see what's on the screen, so you know what I'm about. And, recently I've been doing a couple of videos, dealing a little bit more with the church, simply because you do see the cross on the screen. So I'm very concerned about, things that have to deal with God, right? So I found this particular video a while back, and I'll be honest, it took me a while to really decide to talk about it because I think it's a very sensitive thing. So let me read some comments and then I'll get into it. So the very first comment is from a lady. She says, just because they preach doesn't mean they're going to heaven. The second one, I'm guessing this is a guy, basically says, if that was my 21-year-old daughter, he would definitely see me on the news. The next one says, for people saying he did nothing wrong, let me bring even further clarity to this. In 2017, Reed took over as pastor of Christ Apostolic, I don't know how to say that word, Temple, and as the dean of its school. The girl should have been around 15 to 16 years old at that time. Upon information and belief, it is through his role as pastor, school dean, and counselor that he gained a road to Jordan, who is now his wife, and began grooming her to later be brought into his service and control. He was allegedly accused of similar unethical relationships with young girls in Shreveport, Louisiana, where he has previously pastored. He has been married and divorced 3 times, with Jordan being his 4th wife. Although the marriage is legal, the breach of ethics and breach of responsibility are not. This child was clearly groomed, and might I add, would you want this for your daughter? The final one I'll say is, this is a guy, the part where he said he shouldn't need nobody to sign the paperwork for her was cringe, right? There was actually, because many of you know my background is media. And one of the craziest things that I know happened where, and I'm not sure exactly which director this was. I'm pretty sure there was a writer-director. He basically had a foster child or an adopted child. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but, and he literally raised the girl. And when she was really young, I want to say 1 or 2 years old. And when she turned 19, he divorced his wife and married her. What? Okay, so here's my take on this. And this is why, like I said, it took me a while to really get to this. Because guys and women, I don't have a problem with age gap relationships. I've even talked to them, talked about them many times. And I've even told you that most of, what I date, is women that are younger than me. However, this level of over 40 years, okay, especially to a woman that you knew when she was in her teens, I'm not sure God would be okay with that. I'm just being real. It would be different, I think, if the man was 35, and it was only maybe 15 years or whatever of difference. And maybe he knew her when she was 17 or maybe right at 18. I think it would be a little bit different. Okay. I also think it would be different if he hadn't counseled her. That's the part, the problem with it. We talk about these stages of development, and I'm always telling you guys that a lot of people's problems happen starting in middle school, right? And you have, like I say, stages of development. So the second stage of development, which happens about year 8 to about year 13, 14, right? It's like give or take 1 or 2 years. That is the stage where, people are literally trying to become, like their surname, right? A lot of parents love that age because that is that age of, trying to be your surname. So you're trying to act like a Smith. You're trying to act like a Johnson. That's when kids say, we, Smiths, we do this, right? Then you have, like I say, give or take a year, from about 14 or so all the way up to 21. And like I said, give or take a year, so you can go back to 13. And in that stage, children, are basically trying to assimilate to their group, right? To the other kids. This is when parents' voices don't have as much strength anymore, because now the kid wants to line up with the other kids their age, and they want to do the things that those kids are doing. And this is actually very important. A lot of parents don't really recognize this, but this age is very important because otherwise they could be alienated by their group. And more than likely, they're going to marry people in their group, and they're going to do things with people in their group. That's going to be their friends, blah, blah, blah. So if you keep them too adult, like with a lot of homeschool kids that are homeschooled, between the ages of 14 and 18, they're never able to really link up with kids their age. And I've been around a lot of homeschool kids, and they actually prefer to be around adults than they do kids their own age, because they don't really understand them. Because in that crucial time of development, they were never around other kids their age. They've only been around adults. So they literally just feel more comfortable. And see, that is the point. When this girl was going through that crucial stage, 15, 16, based off of, what the gentleman was saying, she's hanging around with this man who has influence over her, who is talking to her, who is helping her figure out what life's about. So in this time, when she is supposed to be reaching out to other people, okay, in her age range, she's instead reaching up to a 65-year-old man. Okay, and I'm gonna be real, and and like I said, I don't have a problem with age gaps relationships, but again, that level is such that unless it was just one of those anomalies, and you do see an anomaly every once in a while, a woman with daddy issues and a man, they come together and they do get married or whatever it is, and it'll be 40 years. All right, so I'm not even gonna, say it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen in a much better situation than this. But as a 65-year-old dude, I mean, you got to even think like, yo, she has so much life. Like if both of you all live to 90, okay, you're leaving her by herself for a very long time. Okay, and it's harder for women to get married as they get older. Okay, we all know this. So even as just a man to a woman, I mean, how can you say that you really love her when you're 44 years, she could literally be by herself on this earth? And if that's 40-ish years from 90, she would be 50 years old. Okay, that's a lot, to deal with. So it's all of these, just factors upon factors and issues upon issues. And like I said, the main reason why I didn't want to touch it was because, first of all, it's just gross, from my perspective. It is just really weird. And you have to understand, like I told you, my background is media. So I've been around, people growing up. I've seen little kids, grow up. They were in movies and projects and stuff like that I worked on. And I even had heard about another director in Hollywood, which to me was weird as well, where he had directed this little girl, I think when she was like 9. And then when she got 20, they did another movie together, but in that particular movie, she had to be topless. And that just weirded me out a little bit. And I know that wasn't his kid and he wasn't really hanging around with her like that, but it just seemed a little unethical. That would be about the best way to say it. From a God perspective, you can throw a whole list of things at this. The main 2 rules I'm always telling you that Jesus talked about, which again is in Matthew, which I'm always encouraging you all to read, Matthew and Proverbs. If you can't read anything else, read those 2. But, Jesus said you love God and you love people. Okay, those are the 2 rules. Everything else in the Bible is based off those 2 rules. All right. And so if you're really saying you love people, you have to want the best for them. And you're supposed to want the best for your wife. As a man, you're supposed to want the best for your wife. So if you can think in your mind that this woman is not fully mentally developed, if you have literally counseled her so you know her issues and you know whether or not she even relates to kids her age or to people her age, because now she's 21. So to adults her age, that's a whole different ball of wax. See, there's a lot of women out here that prefer older men because of what older men have to offer, right? More older men are stable in their jobs. They generally are not going to be out here trying to cheat on everybody. They literally have their bag. It's already done. And so women don't have to think about it. And a lot of older men have a piece to them that a lot of younger men don't, right? And there's a lot of stuff you can find on the internet that talks about that, all right? And I'm always saying that, if you're an older man and you want to date younger, same thing I say if you date a foreign woman, you have to be open to new experiences. You can't be one of these men that's closed off. But in this scenario, none of that really applies. Like I said, it's so grossly wrong to me in the way that everything went down that it's even hard for me to just do this video, because it's like I just almost just want to, like I say, I almost want to be on the news, But at the end of the day, I'm just going to say it like this. This is one of those times, again, where I think a lot of people are allowing things and not quite understanding the other side of it. And there are pastors out here that they just grossly take advantage of their power, and that to me is a very scary thing, because I'll be honest, like I say, I feel like God is, drawing me out here. Otherwise, I wouldn't put the cross on the screen. And people don't understand. When you stand before God, there's prices to pay. Okay, lots of prices to pay, for your actions on this world. And if you, like I said, are not lining up with those 2 rules of love God, love people, you're going to have some issues. And then you have to make your statement before God, who knows all things, who can see directly into your heart and know why you did what you did. Okay. And so, yeah, that's a lot, going on there. And, I don't feel like this. And I understand that a lot of pastors walk in leadership energy and they walk in a lot of heavy duty instinct energy. All right. And I've told you all before, instinct driven people, whether they're male or female, have control issues. All right. And I've told you before, I'm instinct driven. I understand this. Women in my group, for those that are new, Christian Singles Connect is the group, that I am one of the organizers on here in Atlanta. And many of them that have been around me, they'll even kind of look at me and they'll be like, yeah, you kind of controlling. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm controlling in a good way. I was like, I'm in a good way. Jesus was controlling too, but I'm controlling in a good way. I'll put you first. But they recognize that they can feel it. They can feel it when I'm in their presence, they can feel it. And some women love it. They absolutely love it because it makes them feel secure. Right. So I don't worry about it because that's just part of being instinct driven. But what he's doing is like in a whole nother level. Okay. That's just a whole nother level. That's really lining up with that whole Dr. Umar thing where it talks about, the pastor wanting every woman in the church to be his wife. Okay, so this is like validating, that point. I'm always, encouraging you that a lot of pastors are really good. I really do believe that most of them are trying to do their best. All right, they just don't know everything. And I think it's important for people just to say what they don't know. And again, I'm always surprised that more people don't do that. There are certain subjects on this channel that I just leave alone because I don't know enough about it and I don't research that stuff enough. So it's not, in my, bag of tricks, so to speak. And again, that's why I kind of left this thing alone for a long period of time, because it's like, what can I really say that hasn't been said? In fact, this is probably just a really good one for you guys to talk about in the comments. So have at it in the comments. I think this is not a good thing. I could use other words, but I'm just gonna say, I don't think this is a good thing. And I think any pastor, that's doing this, and even honestly, the people in that church, I know for me, I would have been gone. I would have been gone. Okay, because I don't see this. I don't see God doing this. This is just me. So again, I'm always calling out, for people to do the best that they can. God gives grace, but at the same time, you have to be leaning into things that work well for Him. So again, have at it in the comments, guys. Like I said, I don't even know where to begin and end on this one. I'm just gonna have to cut the video here. So again, I'm all about marriage. Maybe not this marriage, but I am all about marriage. Please stick around, watch my videos if that's what you're into. Now, if you just want to be single, don't watch my videos. Go find yourself a singles coach, because I don't teach people how to date. I teach people how to get married. All right. So please, like I say, check it out. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you all in the very next video.